Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't hear this. You're like, it is like. What am I asking about a different stuff?
And why can you check YouTube if the screen is showing fine from but you cannot see it because it's not posted. Never mind. خير إن شاء الله. Okay, so let's start. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to the new term. So here is our list of questions. Let me tell you what's the deal about us here. So I remember that face from 260. Okay, welcome. What's your name?
Nazla.
Nazla, welcome. Okay, so what was it? We started a while ago, right?
Yeah,
This Quran studies. Has it been a year?
I think it's been a year.
Okay, so this is our second year, alhamdulillah. But last term over the summer, we started this question thingy. So students are asking their questions either directly or there's also a Google Doc if you would like to ask the question anonymously. So we started with the first 6 questions, which we covered over the summer. And we have quite a number of new questions. And if you are interested in any other topics that you think that's bothering you in general, not necessarily a religious topic that I am interested in hearing. Although for a Quran study, if I say, tell me a question, people start coming up with a religious question, whatever is the understanding of religion is. But anything you struggle in life, it could be family matters, it could be why children are dying in war zones, or like there was one question which I postponed to the end, Qadar, what does it mean to believe in Qadar, which sounds like a religious problem, but in fact, it's a very fundamental problem. So if you have any question that bothers you, that I would be interested in hearing them. What is the motivation for that? My maker, I expect my maker to answer my questions, the one who gives me those questions in the first place. Take it this way, since you're students, most of my examples are going to be from the student realm. Like if you take a course and then professor asks you a question and you are having a hard time figuring it out, who would you go and ask to? I mean, if the professor is a wise professor and if there's a teaching going on and you're not able to figure out and you're lost, you will knock the door of the professor, go to the officers and say that, look, I'm putting my effort, I try to understand, but I'm not able to. So guide me. Tell me the direct answer, but if the professor says, if I tell you the answer directly, you're not going to understand. So, but I will teach you, normally professor would say, and give you some hints so that by connecting the dots, you will understand. And this is called the learning, right? So memorizing is not learning. Learning is you build blocks on top of each other and then you understand. And when a new problem comes, you can now apply it to there, right? So we are struggling in life. Death is a big struggle. Diseases are a struggle. Or sometimes happiness has become a struggle. You compete with your friend. Your friend bought a new car, like Kuwaitis. They buy good cars. And then I cannot, still I drive my Camry, but like those anxieties and everything, right? So, but that feeling is there. You like it or you dislike it. The feeling is being given to you. How do you deal with that? So these are very real questions. And I should be asking those questions to my maker, saying that my maker, my creator, how do I make sense of that? You help me, right? This is why anything that bothers you in life, let's take it as a question and ask it to the creator and his messenger so that we will attempt finding some guidance. So for today, we are going with question 7. But just to motivate you for asking questions, I will read a few questions from here so that you can see how things. I mean, still, most of those questions are a little bit religious, I would say, but to give you some idea. So the first question we studied was, why does God busy himself with my tiny and insignificant behaviors? He is even threatening me with hell. I mean, I just didn't pray. Is that a big deal? Why did God make us? Or another nice question with the wording of the student who asked, why was Adam alayhi salam a thing in the first place? Like Quran is talking about. What is dua? Like asking, supplication, what is it? So there's this narrations which says, no one with pride enters paradise. So how can we handle pride? Can you be happy with yourself? How about self-esteem? So these were the topics that we covered. Then we talked about ascension, Mi'raj of the Prophet. Like it sounds like a fairy tale. He wakes up, he gets on a horse-like thing, which is super fast, goes like climbs the skies, talks to the creator. Hard to believe. Like, what does that mean? Is it a fairy tale that I am expected to be bearing witness? And I'm expected to believe in that, and belief means bearing witness. How do I bear witness to something which I haven't seen, right? So we talked about that. This was an interesting question. Initially, I was not planning to talk about it, but I thought it was an interesting conversation. Magic, dark magic, protection from jinns, right? Especially for Muslims, the more you are coming from a culturally Muslim family, the more this is an issue for you. I guess for converts, it's not an issue that much. I don't know. Well, we talked about this for 2 weeks. It was, alhamdulillah, beautiful to me at least. Now we are discussing fear versus love of Allah. There was one question about afterlife. Although the asker is asking as if I need to convince Ali, how can people be convinced about afterlife? I will read this as, is there a life after this one? I'm dying. Every day I am dying. I mean, you guys are still young. You don't notice it, but I started feeling it. I am dying. So where am I going? And there was this interesting one, which I think we should also discuss this at some point. Last 3 surah of Surah Baqarah, verses of Surah Baqarah, it says, for the believers, they believe in, like, I'm not sure. كُلٌّ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَمَلَائِكَتِهِ وَكُتُبِهِ وَرُسُلِهِ. So they believe in Allah, the books, the messengers, and whatnot. And then they say, we heard and we obeyed. The student who is asking this was asking with the motivation that belief for me is I heard, I obeyed. I don't want to ask many questions about it, actually. Belief is a matter of accepting. And this is what the verse is saying, that student was saying. And I think this is also a interesting thing. And there are many more. So if there's any burning question, I can take it. Otherwise, we will jump into today's topic. Any questions? If not, Miss President has a link. Vice President, okay, Miss Vice President has a link to share, which you can click to submit it online. Okay, like look at this question. This is another one. Why is little Ali so cute? Why do I feel an overwhelming desire to squeeze his cheeks? This is one of the questions. Ali is my little son. So I don't know who wrote that question.
Fairly certain it was Zarar.
Zarar? Okay. So we can also discuss this at some point. There was another question which was asking what is the origin of baklava. So anyways, we'll see. Okay, let's get to here. And we have the owner of the question among us. Dua was asking, love of God versus fear of God. I also added consciousness of God in there, but I couldn't have time to put verses about it. So maybe if we get to next week. What's your questions about that topic? Love of God, fear of God. When I say love of God, fear of God, what comes to your mind? I mean, I listed some questions, but before I put mine, why is it a problem for you, Dua? Or is it a problem for you?
I feel like in my life, like I feel love for God in certain moments. Like if I go out, everything's very beautiful, everything's going my way, I will feel a love towards God. Um, but fear isn't that big of a factor in my life, at least. Like culturally, as Muslims, like we are taught that you should like fear God, fear hell. God is this angry man who will punish you and all that. And these days a lot of people are like, hey, like you should teach with love, and you should teach about like Allah's love instead of like teaching about like fearing him, which I agree with. But then at the same time, I've noticed in my life that there are moments when I feel very fearful of Allah, and those are moments in which I'm like talking about him, right? Like if I discuss him with my friends, all of a sudden it becomes very real for me. And in those moments, like I feel fear, and not just of like Allah, but of like this reality that I'm not aware of, like the wider sense of like what it means to be a human. But I don't feel it in my everyday life.
Mhm.
And I guess my question is like, should I be feeling it? Why do I feel it in those moments? Is fear productive for me? And then in the Quran also, like Allah does scare us with hell, and it is, like that imagery of like the water and fire, it is meant to induce a fear in us. But then at the same time, in the Quran, again, there are like these things of, like be like, praise God, be thankful to God because he has done all this for you. So yeah, and then there's also the element of like God loving people. What does it mean to be loved by God? Like that sort of thing.
Okay, very nice. A lot more than what I put here. So is it a disturbing feeling or is it a desirable feeling for you when you say fear of God? Is it something that you find it problematic or you find it necessary, useful, or how do you feel about like generally we don't like fears, but now we are talking about fearing God.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about it? Like, is it that if I say, for example, after today's discussion, if I say that, oh, there's no need to fear God, would you feel better?
No, I think fear is important. Because it's sort of like there is an imbalance in the relationship between us and God. I don't know. I will say I have found love to be more of a motivator.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think fear is an important motivator for myself, but especially like for me in those moments where I, lack that love, for example, or lack love, like just iman in the fact that, I am going to be punished, or there is going to be a day of reckoning, that could serve as the motivator for you to just, get up and pray. But I will say that, like the fact that I'm an abd, the fact that, like I do things because Allah tells me to, and recognizing like his role in my life, that is a bigger factor. But I do think that fear is important too.
Okay. I would love to ask more to you, but so that we hear other people as well. When we say, it looks like our major concern is more about fear, really, because love is a beautiful feeling anyways, and God is beautiful, love is beautiful, nobody has any issues with that. But what does it mean? It looks like the question is coming from the perspective that, what does it mean to fear the Creator? Especially given that, like living in this society, now that you have the opportunity to compare like religions, as Christians would say, I used to have a Christian friend who said this, like Muslim God is more like this wrathful thing who has Muslim and Jewish God is the one which has a sword and then waiting there to,
right.
Like this fear is being generally understood in this sense, but like Christian way, since God incarnated is there and whatnot, so it's more like a peaceful, loving and whatnot. So the fear component is not there too much, which gives us another opportunity. But even in today's society, where religion is being pushed off altogether from the scene, it's all about love and whatnot. So what's the deal with the fear, right? Cool. So what does it mean to fear God then? Like, or forget about fear God. What does it mean? Are you fearful of anyone, Rida? Like,
Oh, God. Yeah.
forget about God for now.
Mhm.
Anybody else, like your mother, your advisor, or someone, anybody who you like. I'm trying to understand the nature of feeling of fear in the first place. What is fear? Why do you fear someone?
I think, well, when I had my student supervisor, she was a little scary.
Okay, scary. So
Yeah.
what was scary about her?
She was very mean.
Mean. Okay. So she was hurting you in a certain, or you were at least worried that she will hurt you in a way.
Yes.
In what your personality or what?
I thought because when she was being mean to me that it would be a bad impression on the higher ups, but I think the higher ups in my exit interview saw it for what it was, so it actually backfired on her.
Okay.
They
So,
noticed it themselves, like, you know.
and then what you were worried about was your personal, is it the proper word, imagery, or how you are represented in the eyes of the others would get harmed by her.
Yeah, because I was thinking about staying with them long term, so I thought it would affect my employment prospects if she communicated that to the higher ups. But then the higher ups already knew she was the problem,
I see.
so like it didn't exactly, my fears were unfounded, if that makes sense.
I see. But what I'm trying to see here is, for example, like those scary movies, the guys like this, and like the face is scary.
Yeah.
This is what you're fearful of. Or if somebody has a sword in their hand or a gun, you're scared from this person because your life is getting threatened, right?
Mhm.
In your case, like otherwise, it's not that person's person you're afraid of. There is something at stake on your end, which is getting threatened. This is why you're fearful of that person, right?
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, if I say, are you afraid of John? You would say, who is John? Like, what? I don't even know who John is, right?
Yeah.
If I say, are you afraid of God? Like, who is God? Like, you should have a description of God, so much so that this God has some interaction with you at some point, which you feel is threatening, right? Like, for example, anybody here afraid of their mother? In what sense, Mahmoud?
But I think like you take it back to fear of Allah. Like the phrase fear of Allah is an attempt to translate taqwa into English.
Not exactly. I'll talk about that because I will use all three words: hub, taqwa, and khawf.
Yes.
Specifically, I am talking about khawf now.
So I think that fear of God, like fear of Allah, is more of like a fear of disappointing Allah. Like for example, if I was standing outside of Wawa, like smoking a cigarette, and like my dad walked by and he saw me, like I would be scared of my dad in that moment. Like not scared because I think that he's gonna like physically hurt me or he's gonna do something to me. I'm scared of like disappointing my dad. I know he's done like so much for me throughout his life, like he sacrificed so much, and like he basically raised me like from when I was a kid. So I would just be scared of like disappointing him. So I think the same sense when you say like fear of Allah, you're more like disappointed or you're more scared of disappointing like such a merciful being who says, even if your sins like reach to the sky and you say like, yeah, Allah forgive me even once, and Allah forgives everything.
Mhm.
So I think that fear comes from like disappointing such a merciful creator, like such a merciful God.
I see. So in this case, then you're so when I say are you afraid of John? So like you have an imagery, or are you afraid of your dad? So your dad in this case is this merciful person,
Yeah.
and then you love your dad, and you do care about what your dad thinks about you, right?
Yeah.
So if you are afraid of that imagery of what your dad thinks about you is going to get damaged,
Yeah.
right?
Or like disappointing him, I guess, like in a sense that like I know that he's done so much for me. Like why would I cause him sadness? Let's see like look what my son is doing. Like this is not what I taught him. Like the same way Allah like looks at us like, look, I've made it so easy for my servant to enter paradise, and this is what he's doing. So I
Mhm.
think in that sense, like that's how we're supposed to fear God.
That's good. We'll dig deeper into that though, okay? Because we have to really see, why do I care about what Creator thinks about me? Right? Because Rida was caring about what the advisor was thinking about her. This is why she was having that fear, that imagery of Rida in the eyes of the advisor or the department shouldn't get hurt. Because if they think that you're a lazy person, let's say, you would think that, no, I'm not lazy. But they think that you're lazy, so you were afraid or worried about that imagery, that representation being hurt. Like in Mahmoud's case, his father thinks that he's a good guy. And he made a lot of efforts to raise Mahmoud. And now he is seeing Mahmoud smoking. And he says, oh, his world is shattered. Mahmoud is not how I wanted him to be now. And now Mahmoud does not want his father to be upset. This is why he is fearful. I mean, this is the source of his worry. But why do you care? For your father, there's a reason you do care, because of love. Do you really care the same for your creator? What does my creator think about me? Or even we can get a little deeper. Does your creator think about you? I am pushing you into territories, uncharted territories, probably. You haven't thought about any of these, maybe. These might be disturbing questions. Doing it knowingly so that they become your answer. Like what Mahmoud said, Mahmoud is convinced about it, but you shouldn't be copying what Mahmoud said. Does it also convince you? Or is it just this nice poetic way of saying that, oh, I love God, so I shouldn't upset him? Do you really care about it? Do you really care about it? Like Mahmoud might be caring about it. But Mahmoud's answer to become my answer, I first need to check, do I care about what my creator thinks about me more so than what my neighbor thinks about me? Like when you buy a cloth, you want to appear in a way that people would appreciate you. So that worry is there, right? Being appreciated by people. How frequently do you worry, or do you at all worry about your creator's sight on you? Because people will look at you. This is why we were very good, right? We know people look at us. We know people judge us. And that's why I don't want to appear like a sloppy person, because I'm afraid that if I were sloppy here, they wouldn't listen to me. They wouldn't pay attention to what I say. So let me wear good clothes. This is coming out of a worry, right? How about my creator? To what extent am I aware that my creator is seeing me? Do you feel that worry at all? If you don't, then it's just going to be like coming up with an explanation for why is it okay to fear God simply becomes, or in Quran, there's a verse which seems to be problematic. And then my atheist friend is going to mock me. So let me come up with a nice explanation to it so that we save the day. Is this feeling familiar to you? Like somebody is challenging a verse in the Quran and you're trying to come up with an explanation to save the day, not to benefit from that. Like right now we are talking about fear of God, right? And then Mahmoud came and said that, well, what it means actually is we are trying not to upset the creator. Oh, it looks like a acceptable answer, right? Okay, we saved the day. It's not like God is going to break my head, so I should be afraid of him, but it was rather me trying not to upset my creator. Okay, Quran is an acceptable message. Is this the point? Or that concept of fear is going to be, however I should understand it, become part of it. It's going to answer some of my needs, a major need of mine. Is it becoming part of me? That's an important part to me in terms of our relationship with Quran. Because if I am culturally Muslim, meaning I was born in that environment, and this is our religion's book, so I wouldn't it to be funny because I think I accept this, right? So if somebody attacks it, I'm trying to defend it. But it's not for personal use, meaning I'm not benefiting from every single verse. I'm just trying to defend it from others. But the question is, do I benefit from that? That's why I was asking, Dua, is fear a acceptable, lovable feeling for you? or is it something that's annoying to you? Rida was annoyed by the advisor. This is why she was fearful. So is the feeling of fear that annoying feeling, or can somebody love that fear? Like Mahmoud is happy and content with his fear, the relationship of fear that he feels towards his father. That's an acceptable version of fear, right? An unnecessary one. How about a student's fear of getting caught when cheating? How about this one? Like what Mahmoud says makes sense. But how about cheating? Since you're a student, I'm giving the example for students. So should a student be fearful about getting caught when cheating? Should this play a role in that student's choices? You had a question, I forgot. Go ahead, please.
So the question is, so you're saying, for example, if someone is fearful of the creator, because like, if you know someone. So if someone knows you at your fullest, so you won't be fearful of that person. That's what I'm trying to say. For example, the creator, he created you, so he knows the ins and outs of you as a person. So why should you be fearful like the way you're putting it? Because like, for example, if I'm a friend with someone and I know that person, I'm not fearful of doing anything in front of them and behind of them, because I know that that person knows me. Even if someone tells them like this was like he did something wrong, that person knows me, so I don't need to be fearful of him. So that is my question. Like, is there even a need for this to be this thing?
Okay, very beautiful. Now we had, I guess, enough questions, or at least I didn't give any answers so far. I'm also asking questions. Any other questions that you would like to add about the concept of fear of God? Yes.
So I have some friends that are Christian, and they believe that because Jesus died for their sins, that they don't have to have fear of God. And then you see a lot of the shirk, and then a lot of, and I'm not saying all Muslims are perfect, but generally speaking, Muslims follow the commands of their religion better than non-Muslims, right? So wouldn't the fear be like the most important aspect between us and other religions in keeping us firm with the commands? Because if you look at other religions, a lot of them don't have the same thing, and then you see the byproduct of that. So
Okay. Yeah, but this is also a loaded question, because now religion is coming into the picture, and in general, when we talk about religion for people, like there's this fear of hell, and it's threatening to me, right? So I don't want to steal your money. What's your brother name? Hadrat. So I don't want to steal Hadrat's money because there's hellfire, right? I'm worried about it. This is why I'll be doing this or not. So where am I going to put that? It's necessary. Yes, this fear is good for me not to steal his money, but it's also being disturbing. Is it being limiting? And as Kadir was saying, my creator is already knowing everything about me. Shall I be, because I'm not hiding anything from him. I cannot, practically speaking. So even if I'm going to think about an evil thought, like I cannot help. And sometimes thoughts come, right? So shall I become paranoid? Where am I going to locate all these, right? So it's a disturbing feeling for sure. Fear is a disturbing feeling. But I guess our idea here would be, and as I'm going to pull up a verse, comparing the fears that we have towards normal things and having a fear towards the creator. So we'll try to arrive what Mahmoud was saying, or maybe more, maybe less. What does it mean to fear the creator? Okay, good. So I'm just populating the questions right now before I went into the verses. Any other question? Any other comment? Okay. Everybody seems to be comfortable with their fears. Okay. Yes. go ahead.
It's simple, but it ties into what other people are saying. It's just like the general question of like how to fear healthily. I never really know where like the limit is. Because I feel like it's a balance with like love and then fear, but like love is the easy part, but like to fear something, like to fear and love something at the same time is like a really hard balance. So I guess just finding that balance and how to figure out what that is.
Establishing that balance. Good. So let me, yeah, go ahead.
I would like to just comment that I remember from this question the saying of Hazrat Umar. He said that Iman is between fear and love of Allah.
Hmm.
So I think that fear is necessary because first of all, if we believe that God created us, and if we believe that God gives us things and He gives us all the blessings, so we think so we should obey the God, and we should fear the God.
Jazakallah khair. And all I'm trying to do is bringing all these into our daily life, because my worry for my life and for everyone is religion or Quran or creator is distant to my life. This is why I started with those questions, saying that when somebody says, do you have any questions? If this is coming in the religious context, don't try to come up with religious questions. If I was a psychiatrist here, and if I ask you, do you have any problem? This is your real problem, right? Maybe ascension of the messenger is not your real problem. It is just something that would be nice to understand, maybe in your life, although it is central. But what is your problem in your day-to-day life? Is it your desires? Is it competition with someone? Is it that you're just this person who is consuming their life just so that everybody says you're a good guy? Come in. So is this who you are? This is what I would like to raise, especially this is our aim with those Quran classes. I have problems in life. Everybody does have problems in life. How am I going to deal with that? What's the point? Okay. So here are my super simple and generic questions. What does it mean to love God? Do I love God in the first place? Shall I love God? Why not? So I would like to start from love, so that once we do the easy one, we can go with the hard one. Then what does it mean to fear God? Do I fear God? Or everybody, do you fear God individually? Shall you fear God? Why not? Can love and fear be reconciled? And then there's this other term that Mahmoud was referring to in Quran when it comes to, like in translations, sometimes they translate taqwa as fear, which is a different word. Khawf is fear. Taqwa is consciousness. So what does it mean, taqwa? So we will also look into that too. Okay, so first let's talk about the love part, because do we really love God is our first question. So this is a verse number, yeah, you can sit here too. Okay. This is an interesting verse. Right after this verse comes love of God. So I would like to see how Creator is setting the stage for love of God. Why shall I love God in the first place, right? Because you love someone. Why would you like someone? Okay, before going there, why would you love someone? The person next to Rida, you're also new. What's your name?
Maha.
Maha. Okay, Maha, what's your major?
Marketing.
Marketing. Okay. Why do you love someone if you don't have any benefit from them? Marketing, right?
If you don't have any benefit.
I mean, just a joke since you're a marketing person. Okay, go ahead.
If they do things for you, like
Mm.
if your family, they do things for you. So I feel like you're gonna feel like you should love them.
So benefit, right?
Mhm.
So you get some benefit.
And I feel like sometimes it's also like, kind of you feel like you have to do it. Like you have to love them.
Hmm.
Like,
Obligatory, like
What?
love as an obligation.
I feel like sometimes it's like it's just there. Like you don't know how, but like with your family, it's like it's already there. Like I feel like most people have like a natural, like it's natural to feel love for some people.
Okay. I mean, I can understand that. Like that feeling is there. And there's a way you appreciate something. Appreciation could be related to love, right? Like for instance, are you into arts?
Um,
Kind of. To what, literature?
yeah, I guess.
Okay, well, tell me the novel or the best literacy thing that you love most.
Probably reading books.
Reading books, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Okay, so you read Harry Potter. Let's assume you like Harry Potter. So then you say, "Oh, I love the author." Why? What is it that you love in the author? I mean, maybe her personality you don't like, certain parts of her, certain opinions you don't like, right? But when it comes to storytelling, you love Rowling, J.K. Rowling, right? Because the way she tells stories is appreciable, and human appreciates beauty. So you love beauty, and you see a beauty there,
Yeah, I guess.
right?
Mhm.
Anything else? What do you think about love?
I guess I'd say I probably love someone if they also made me feel loved.
Okay.
Who made me feel safe, I guess, and
Hmm.
who, if I felt like they were trying to make me a better person, I guess that would also make me feel loved.
Okay, that's good. So I guess in this sense, it's also a need to be loved, to be acknowledged, because being loved means being acknowledged. So, and we do appreciate being acknowledged. So someone who acknowledges me, and actually being acknowledged means what? Somebody says that you exist and I do care about you, right? Like if you were there and throughout the discussion, I take everybody's opinion and ignore you, what would happen? You will feel as if you don't exist. Just imagine a world, people pretend as if you are not there. How would you feel? For a human, this is the most horrible thing. You're not being acknowledged, right? So being acknowledged is what we love. We appreciate. This is what we are part of us. So being acknowledged is a reason to be loved. Beautiful. Let me get to the verse then. My creator is setting the stage for love as well. So he says, إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ وَالْفُلْكِ الَّتِي تَجْرِي فِي الْبَحْرِ بِمَا يَنْفَعُ النَّاسِ وَمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مِن مَاءٍ فَأَحْيَا بِهِ الْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا وبث فيها من كل دابة وتصريف الرياح والسحاب المسخر بين السماء والأرض لآيات لقوم يعقلون. So behold, in the creations of the heavens and the earth, in the alternation of the night and the day, in the sailing of the ships through the ocean for the profit of mankind, in the rain which God sends down from the skies, and the life which he gives therewith to an earth that is dead, in the beasts of all kinds that he scatters through the earth, in the change of the winds, the clouds, which they trail like their slaves between the sky and earth. In all these are indeed signs for a people that are wise. Keep that in mind. Let's go to the next verse. I'll get back to that in a second. So this was 164. Now this is 165. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَتَّخِذُ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ أَنْدَادًا يُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ. Yet there are men who take others besides Allah as equal. They love them as they should love God. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. But those of faith, those that do believe, are overflowing in their love for God. ولو يرى الذين ظلموا إذ يرون العذاب أن القوة لله جميعا وأن الله شديد العذاب. If only the unrighteous could see, behold, they would see the penalty. That to Allah belongs all power, and Allah will strongly enforce the penalty. So this verse comes right after the previous verse. And the previous verse concluded by saying that these are signs for those who think. Okay? Ship sailing. How would you explain ship sailing in the sea for your benefit? What does God have to do with that? It is the buoyancy of water. Rains. It is just evaporated water coming down. What does God have to do with that? I mean, how is that related to loving God? Yes.
In the summertime, we talked about how a lot of things that we don't normally think of angels are angels. So for example, we talked about water being an angel and how angels obey God and they obey God by serving a purpose. And so the ship sailing or the water holding the ships up is a form of obedience of being an angel.
Yeah. So this is something that we should be thinking about at least, right? My Creator is bringing this to my attention, saying that these are the things you benefit from, right? Isn't it? Like benefiting from ship sailing, benefiting from rain, alternation of day and night. Do we benefit from that? Yes, we get rest, and then in the morning we work. What is it? Rain, which He sends down, or plants coming out from dead earth. These are all the things that we benefit from. But my Creator says there are signs in that for you. And right after that, actually, it attracts my attention to a very important point, saying that there are some people, they take things other than God as His similitude or as His rivals, if you like, and then they give their loves to those things. Do I do that? Is this verse talking about me, or is this verse talking about some Jonathan somewhere? Jonathan is not reading this verse. You and I are reading that. I should ask the question, do I love things? Or what do I love? Maybe more general question. What do I love?
I guess this is reminding me of how, like, when it rains, and I'm fairly certain I have said this too, like I love the weather today. I love the rain. If there is a farmer and like he wants his crops to grow and it rains, he's going to be like, wow, I love this day. I love the rain. But you don't necessarily associate that love to Allah directly. So that is what I'm thinking of over here when it says, yet there are men who take others beside Allah as equal. I'm very much taking those like natural phenomena that we say we love, when we really should be saying that we love Allah, and we should see those phenomena, or not even phenomena, but like rain. Never mind. Yeah.
Yep. And the question is really, if I love rain, I love sunshine, I love moon, I love this, I love that, and just why? Because it's beautiful. Like sunrise is beautiful because that fruit is delicious, right? Fruit itself is delicious, and it comes from that soil. So the land of my hometown, they produce very beautiful apricot. So I love that land. I love my hometown, right? These are all the loves that we say. Does this verse have anything to do with that? Because we do claim probably we love God, but what do we mean by that? Let's first talk about that before coming to fear. Who is God really? In my life, for me, who is God? I love my mom, I say, right? I mean, the verse just listed a few here, but you can extrapolate this verse to say that He is the one who makes your mother a slave to you, if you like, when you're a child. The Creator would say, I am the one. Because why do you love your mother? Because she shows you this endless mercy. She had been at your service since your childhood. The verse would have said, I am the one who make your mother like this. So you should rather be loving me. Who is God? Yes.
God,
Go ahead.
you say, like, we know God from His names. That could be
What does that mean? Explain us. Like
His names.
His names, yeah. Loving God for his names. What does that mean?
Like al-Khaliq, you know, who created
Who created?
Rahman, Rahim,
And
Razzaq.
how do you know he is Razzaq, like the provider? How do you know that? Like, look, my name is Yusuf. And you say that, oh, Yusuf, I love you because of your name, Yusuf, right? It's not the case, right? So it's not about my name. If my name is, if I was named as Yusuf because of my personality, right? Because you would love someone because of their personality, right? Names, as long as the name is there to describe the personality, then it would make sense, right? Otherwise, Rahman, like, have you heard the word Rahman before?
Yeah.
How about Jabbar? You also heard that? Come on, tell me a name.
Al-Jamila.
Al-Jamil. So let's come up with a name that he didn't heard at all, right? And then say that, oh, love God because this is his name, right? I mean, I know you know what I'm talking about, but just trying to explain it for everyone. So names of God is, we come up, actually, I mean, we attribute those names because I do observe mercy. I am being treated mercifully. Therefore, I love him because he is merciful. Okay, go ahead. Make sense?
Actually, that's what I meant.
Okay, yes. I was just trying to open it up. Otherwise, Ali would say that, where do you come up with names? I don't know what names means. Go ahead, Ali.
Yeah, they say that there's like, I read a book about Sufism. It's
Okay.
like a branch of spiritual Islam that's not very strict on the rules. But they say in that book that, like, you know, he who counts all the names of Allah is a really great person. And there's apparently more than 40 or something different Arabic terms that describe Allah and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And,
So what does that mean, right? If I just get in a book, read those 99 names and I'm the best of the people, I mean, is it just reciting those names or really confirming them? Oh, I do know merciful one and I do love him because I do see mercy at work, right? Now you have a attachment with that. Otherwise, like, I mean, I know of your mother in person, but for example, I don't know that Ali's mother in person. So if, what's her name? Your mother's name, Ali.
My mother's name?
Yeah.
Nigar.
Nigar. So she loves Nigar, but I don't know who Nigar is. In my eyes, is she a love-worthy person? I don't know her. I mean, probably she is, but I don't know, right? So when I say loving creator, how much do I know the creator as the one acting in there? Because I used to think that ships sail because there is law of buoyancy of water. Like, this is what is there. God has nothing to do with that. If this is my thought, then I would love how beautiful, let's say in Istanbul, Bosphorus, you look at this sea and you say, wow, it looks so gorgeous. To whom did I attribute the beauty now? I attributed the beauty to the sea itself. Like, if you see a very beautiful painting and you say, oh, what a beautiful painting. And then let's assume, for the sake of argument, the painter was standing next to you, but you don't know the guy is the painter, right? You just say, oh, it's so beautiful. And the painter says, you see, the artist chose that color here rather than this one. Doesn't this tell you something? You say, no, that pigment is so. He says, no, don't you see the art? There is an artist. And what you are seeing here is just the beauty of art, of the artist being manifest on a canvas. What you love is really the beauty of art that belongs to the artist. It is just a manifestation of it projected on a paper. If you burn the paper, like the canvas, the art doesn't die. What you loved is the art, the beauty of art, the sense of art, and it belongs to the artist. But then you say, no, it's all about the canvas. It is the beautiful sea. No, sea is beautiful because of the beautifier. Sea is not inherently beautiful. This is what my creator is saying. Don't fall in love as if you love things wrongly. Does it make sense? Or am I losing you? What do you think?
So what I understood
from
the conversation is that we talked about the ship sailing, and you said that the law, it is because of the law that the ship is in balance. So you said that we should not like love the law itself. We should love the one who created the law.
Actually, not even that. This is what Rida was referring to over the summer as we were discussing. Law is just a name, another name. Law does not do anything. Like, for example, if I were to put coffee, when everybody comes here, I come and serve you coffee. And you keep seeing this for 15 years, 20 years, right? And it becomes you start feeling like as if it's a law. And unwillingly, it's the law of coffee distribution. You come every day, coffee is being distributed. Come every day, coffee is being distributed. And you start thinking that there is something which forces the guy to distribute the coffee. But the fact is what? Lovingly, willingly, knowingly, I distributed coffee to you for the past 20 years every day. We do see a behavior, we call it a law, and then we start thinking that law is doing something. In this existence that we live in, we consider things to be laws and laws at action. This is falling because of gravity, we say, because of gravity. Yusuf is serving you because of law of, coffee. No, I am serving you because I love you. I care about you. There's nothing that enforces me to serve you coffee. Law do not exist other than in your head as a concept. We do observe a pattern and name it as a law. This is why laws are one of the things that we love as much as we love the Creator. On the flip side as well, we are fearful of laws as well. We are afraid of a hurricane. We are afraid of death. This is why starting from love was important, because our love is messed up. Hence, our fear is also messed up. We do not love the Creator, as perfectly put with this verse, saying that, yet there are men who take others besides Allah as equal. They love them as they should love Allah. Do I really do that? Yes, I do that. I do love my wife. I do love my parents. Like, I do love my wife as she is the source of my tranquility. Like, alhamdulillah, I have a very happy family life. And I say, oh, I love my wife because she is the pillar of our happy family life. Is this a proper saying? Is she really the source of our happiness? Or she and I both are being provided with happiness by our Creator. It's a gift to both of us. We do see, and I need to question, do not take my word. I mean, this is what we have been doing for the past year, right? Do not take my word, but question, what is the source of this beauty? What is the source of tranquility in my house? And do not automatically answer God. Who is God? Why am I insisting on that? I mean, if it's repetition for you, Dua and Qadir, since these are the people who come and also Rida, but it's necessary. Generally, we have this split mind and heart syndrome, as I would like to call it. And I have seen this a lot over the years with Muslim students on campus, and we are together for 13 years at Drexel MSA. When I heard this a lot, saying that, oh, my heart believes in God, my intellect is like with science, or there's this sort of a split. The two are not reconciling with each other. I'm fighting too hard to do this and that and whatnot. And then I say, well, the two are not different and whatnot. I'm not going to get into that. But the thing is, ask yourself, when nobody is around, who is God really? What sort of a role does this understanding play in your life? And when the verse, this is why I should be reading every verse as if it is speaking to me directly, to Yusuf, as if nobody else is on earth. Quran is revealed to me directly, which I should and I must take scripture as such. And it says, from among people there are such and such. Like if in here I were to say that, from among you there are some people who are thieves, what would you say?
Stop, bro.
Did he see something about me? Could it be me? Especially if I'm a respectable person. And if you are a sane person, you would be saying that, is he talking about me? Actually, this is how the Sahaba used to take. When the verses were being revealed, every verse, they would take it for themselves. The other day, I was listening to somebody talking. There's when the verse came, do not raise your voice above the voice of the messenger. One of the Sahaba whose voice was high, like, some people has a high voice by their birth. So he said, oh, I'm going to hell. This verse is talking about me. So like he apparently mistook it because it's not talking about his creation. It was like putting your opinion higher than or above, thinking that I think better than the messenger, sort of an attitude. But those people were taking it so serious. How much do I take it? Because if you know that your creator is talking to you, like right now, I'm trying to adjust my speech to average undergraduate student in Drexel. And I know undergraduates at Drexel for 13 years. With that, to the extent that also trying to adjust for most of these guys, other than two, are coming from Muslim background. And I'm starting to learn about converts a little bit, not too much. So you would say that, well, this guy is trying to adjust it to our speech. Your creator, who knows everything about you, is speaking to you. So if Parker says, well, what he says applies to those other dudes, which are coming from Muslim families, but since he doesn't know my background, 50%, he can say, and whatever he considers to be not applying, he would not listen to. And he has the right to say so. Or he can use this as an excuse to throw away 50% of what I am saying, right? Because I am not a perfectly knowing person, which is right. But my creator is speaking to me, who knows everything about me, is speaking to me. So I should read it as every single verse of the Quran applies to me 100%. What is my share from this verse? When it says, from among you some people, read it as, Ali or Yusuf, there are some aspects in you which loves God more than, which loves other things more than God. It's a little disturbing, especially if you feel like I am a believer, I'm going to paradise. Because what I'm right now saying is, we are humans, we have moments of life. In some moments of life, you might be a better of a believer. At some moments of your life, of my life, I might be a denier. This is why Prophet used to say, renew your iman, renew your belief, meaning that renew your conviction. Do not say that, oh, once I'm convinced, I'm good to go. New thing happens in life. Are you convinced about your creator's mercy, wisdom, knowledge in that new thing? Like the drunk guy came and hit your car. Or some war happened somewhere and an innocent little child is killed. And you observe this, which is now a challenge for your understanding of mercy of the creator. Do you still believe? Are you still sure and convinced that God is merciful? I need to renew my faith. I cannot simply say that, no, close your eyes, close your, astaghfirullah, I believe in God. This is not belief. It's escapism, right? This is why our moments are changing. We are changing. And at such a moment, this verse would be applying to me, saying that, oh, yes, at certain moments, I'm not that believer. Yes.
So for the mercy example, for example, a person dies or something like that, that does not concern you. Shouldn't you just take it? Can you? My question would be, can you take it as just like it's something that is happening and the creator, he's doing it, it does not concern me, so I'll just focus on what I am going to do. Can you take it as such?
But if, let's say, if the child was being killed in there and you're observing and not feeling anything, which means the creator didn't affiliate you with that really, then you could go your way. But he is, by creating that disturbance in you, he is saying that, look, there's something in here for you to take a message from. And we do feel as such. So you are not feeling this because you're soft-hearted. That feeling is being given to you. You need to ask the question, where did I get this feeling from? I feel pity towards this little child that's being killed, right? Where did this feeling come from? Did you create that feeling? If you did, next time try not to do it because it's a trouble for you. It's disturbing you, right? If you are the source of that feeling, do not create it next time for your own good. You cannot, because that feeling is being thrown into you by your creator. It's a message. Now the question becomes, what am I supposed to get out of that, right? And this is a good point to start from. Do not think that you created that feeling. Because what happens is that you would start saying that, oh, I am so much of a soft-hearted person. Like, look at this stone-hearted guy over there. I am a good person. Then I start competing and praising myself because I am soft-hearted, right? Which is, I am becoming the God that I love more than the creator himself. I start self-admiring. You love yourself more than anyone. What is it beautiful in me worthy of being loved, really? Ali, is there anything good in you?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about some of the things you said. I think that what it's trying to say is that like all these things that we love, like the ocean and the ship passing, the buoyancy of the water, and you were talking about your mother and how she is helping you and so like that. This is coming from Allah because Allah created everything. And so he's saying that you should love not the person that's doing it, your mother or your friend that's treating you very well, or the ship or the ocean that you love. You should love the creator because he was the one who put it there.
Yeah,
I think is what it's trying to say. It is what Allah is trying to say there. And then Muhammad brought it to us. But and I also just wanted to say about what makes someone love you. You were saying that it shouldn't be something where you were given because of something that they're providing to you. But I think that most of the examples that even you mentioned were things where people were providing it to you. So
Yeah.
and I think that I also have the same kind of thing where it's most of the things I like is just something that I like because it does something for me. Right?
Yeah.
But but I thought it was something that someone that I loved, and I tried to say not because of something that they are doing for me, but I like J.R.R. Tolkien for writing Lord of the Rings because I've identified with the character of Frodo because he felt like he was weak and he couldn't do whatever kind of journey that he had to go through to destroy the Ring of Power, and because he felt too weak, but then he was able to obviously accomplish that goal. So I felt like I loved him for creating this art. But you listen to some artists and they say that they didn't create the art, that it was created by them and God was the one who brought it to them and they were creating it. Like I had this guitarist that I like, John Frusciante, and he said that he's not, that people attribute all his works to him, but he said no, that it's not coming from him, it's coming from God. He happens, I think he's Christian, but I don't think he's Muslim, but he thinks that all the art that he's making is actually coming from God.
Yeah.
But there's the God aspect of things like that these people that you love or these things that you love coming from God. But go ahead. Sir.
Exactly, though. In your life, are you also convinced about that? So this is not just a thought. Like, for example, what I'm trying to say with that is, today I have money in my, finally, after a term. So if Hazrat give this money to me, okay, and then you come and say that, oh, Yusuf, you're so rich. I would say, no, I am not rich. It is Hazrat's money. And I am sure about that, right? You say, no, but it's in your pocket, right? I would say, no, he gave it to me and I am sure. It's not that I'm trying to appear pious and say that it's mine, but not mine. I am sure, right? Are you sure that much that mercy is given to you? Or let's assume you cook coffee very well. Somebody says, oh, you cooked a very brilliant coffee. Are you sure saying that I know nothing about how to cook coffee? It's all given to me. Are you sure about that? As much as you are sure about that, you will love the creator. But if you think that, no, part of it is mine, part of it is his, then you will start loving yourself too. This is why in the theoretical world, you can be saying that, yeah, everything is created by God. But in practice, do you really mean it is the question. If in practice you do not mean it, or let's put it this way, we generally don't, to the extent that you do not mean it practically, you would love other things than the creator. because love goes to where the beauty comes from. And if the beauty of coffee comes from my hand, you would love my skill. If the beauty comes from the creator, if you're sure about that, then you will love the creator. As easy as that. Where do you see as the source of beauty? It all boils down to that, because humans do love beauty, but where is beauty coming from? Sunrise is beautiful, rain is beautiful. If I say as so, then what does God have to do with that? So let's conclude with this for today, inshallah. Any comments, any questions that you would like to add? I had more questions than answers, and this is generally the setup of these discussions. So I am hoping that you do not step in as believers and leave as unbelievers. Go ahead.
I think what you're saying is the same idea when you see something beautiful and you say, SubhanAllah. Sometimes we don't think about it.
Yeah.
As such. That's why we need to speak when we ask about someone. Like you'll say, Alhamdulillah. That's like, yeah, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Not really meaning the word.
Actually, especially in Turkish culture, probably it's similar in other Muslim cultures. When they say a newborn baby, right? When you say, oh, how cute, beautiful, they say, no, say mashallah, mashallah, right?
So, yeah.
Why? What is it's very wise, but what is the point? Is it just a lip service? What does mashallah mean? How beautiful is the job of the creator? MashaAllah. So what has he done? What has God done? You're saying that it's not the beauty of the child. It's not the good job of the parents. It is the artwork of the creator. So do not attribute the beauty to the child. Because there's a reason for that. There's this idea of nazar, like the evil eye. The creator really, if you say, oh, how beautiful the child is, then the child fails or something happens to the child, right? The creator created this way too. There's a point in nazar, really. It's not, fairy tale. It's a lesson. The creator says, you thought that it was from child? Child's beauty is spoiled. If it was the source, renew the beauty. With all the things that we think about in terms of this, how beautiful it is, by creator right there shows us that it is the other way around by creating these, what others would call evil eye. Because the creator says, I didn't like the way you looked at it. This is why it became the part of Muslim culture, because of prophetic practice, to say, MashaAllah or Subhanallah. So all praise be to creator, or how beautiful he did, sort of messages. Okay, Jazakallah khair. This was a beautiful point. So let's stop here, and inshallah next week we can continue from fear and consciousness. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana.